All right, guys, so today we're going to look at taming the bricks built-in animations that you add through interactions. I see them used a lot. I like them, but I think they're a little bit overdone and they start to make your site look like a school project. Let's face it. Now, I've got an example here. I've got a heading that's going to animate from the right, and I've got an image that's going to animate from the bottom, and I'm just using the default bricks animation. So if I press the F5, you can see the actual animation. Oops, let's put it on the right browser. F5, see that sort of effect there? That is just way over the top. And it's just ugly. I just hate this kind of animation personally. And you see it all the time these days where someone gets a brand new website, everything animates and it just looks terrible. So I'm going to look at how we can use these, but tame it down to be something that actually looks a little bit better. All right, so we're going to start by having a look at what we've got. So in the test builder, I've got a very simple section with some dummy content at the top and at the bottom so we can scroll the page a little bit. I might actually just double that section at the bottom and maybe double the one at the top so we get some more stuff we can scroll. Okay, then we've got a container with a heading in it. And on that heading, it's just a standard heading. I've just gone into the interactions, added an into viewport interaction, start animation with fade and right, and it's on 1 second. And on my image, same deal, into viewport, start animation. In this case, we're doing a fade in up. This is just using the default bricks animation settings. So what this will do every time, actually save that, make sure it's this current to-date version. So watch this. If I go there, there's my heading and my image, scroll out, scroll back in, they come back in again. That's very typical of what you'll see on websites that use these animations. I'm going to tell you a way to make this even better. Now, what the thing is, we need to figure out first is what is actually happening as far as classes go when these animations occur. And they're a little bit too quick, and I'll show you why. If I bring up my Chrome DevTools and I select, just say that image there, for example, and you watch these classes down here. So where are we? We've just got these two classes at the moment here, bricks animated and heading. If I scroll out of view and I scroll back into view, you'll see it added a animation class and then it deleted it. It deletes it at the end of the animation. So we go, well, what animation class did it use? What we need to do is go back to our interactions and change that from being 1 second to being 20 seconds. 20 seconds should give you plenty of time to figure out what that is. So I'm going to go 20 seconds on both these. And save that. Look at our front end. Let's firstly look at the image, the title. We see it's slowly animating now. And we can see there that's actually added this BRX animate, fade and right. So we need to know that because we've got to find that, right? So let's firstly look at where that is. We'll have a look at the image one after that. To find that, we go to our network tab and on our CSS, if you can't see the animate men there, just press the F5 key so you can load all the CSS and see it. There's our animate men. Here it is. It's actually a minified file, but Chrome actually pretty prints that, so it's easier to see. So when you're in there, press the Control F or Command F if you've got a Mac, and we're going to search for, oops, that didn't copy properly. Let's go back to Elements. Just scroll out of view, scroll back in, and it's this animate, fade and right class that we want. So I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. Back to our network tab. There is our network tab. So we did a Control F. I'm going to look for animate, fade and right. And there it is there. And what I found with these is if you click at the bottom of that rule, you get your cursor there, and you scroll above that, the keyframes are above it. So we go up to the WebKit. So it's actually got both the keyframes and the WebKit prefix keyframes. I don't think you need the WebKit one anymore, but if you want to support those people with 10-year-old iPads or whatever, then that's okay. So we're going to copy all of that rule. So Control C, Command C, copy those rules, all of those there. And we're going to start a file now to override these. So I'm going to go to your code box, whatever you use, doesn't matter. And we're going to do a new snippet. We're going to call this bricks animation overrides. Okay, and that is we'll make it SCSS, and I'll explain that shortly. You can do CSS if you want to, if you don't do anything with Sass. We don't want to be inline, we want it to be external. And we're just going to paste that rule in from that one there. Head back to our builder here, and now we're going to look at the scroll out of view, scroll into view. I want to look at the image now and see what that's got on. See how slow that is, 20 seconds. Let's select the image, and we'll see on the image, here it is there, we've got animation fade in up is the class name we want. I'm going to copy that, go to our network tab, we're still on the animate min, we've still got this finder up, paste that in there, and that's there, that's going to find the class for us. Click at the bottom of the rule, go up to the keyframes, click, shift click, select all of that, Command C or Control C, go back to the WP code box, and we're going to paste that in there as well. Now, what we need to do is what I found with WP code box is that no matter what I set these priorities to, and unfortunately you can't change this, that is a bug which has not been fixed yet. You can't change that. No matter what hook I used, this file was loading before the animation min CSS. So we need to make this more specific, otherwise it's not going to override the bricks built-in stuff. So no matter what we did here, it just wouldn't work. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to make these more specific. So if we look at the DOM on in a bricks front end, and go to the top here, we've got a main there, and that main has an ID of bricks content. So we can use that to make it more specific. Or we can go to the body, and we've got bricks is front end. If we only want this to happen in the front end, not in the editor, we can use this here. So I'm going to actually, or you can use this bricks body, whatever you want. Actually, I'm going to use the bricks body because I think that's also in the editor. So I'm going to grab the bricks body class. Up to you what you use, whether you want it front end, whether you want to use the ID. I'm going to grab the bricks body class here. Go to my WP code box, and with these two classes here, I'm going to put this is a class, I'm going to do a dot bricks body space. So bricks body followed by animate fade and right. And we're going to do the same on this one here. And that makes it more specific. So even though this rule loads later than the, loads before the animation CSS file, because it's more specific, it's going to override the other rule. So I'm going to go back to the first one, and what we want to do is give it a different animation name so that we can override that. So I'm going to just use my prefix, which is WPE, make this whatever you want, an underscore. That, WPE fade and right, and we're going to just rename these keyframes here with that. That's the two keyframes for the fade and right. I'm going to do the same with the fade and up. And down here, the fade and up. Okay, and I'm going to save this and enable that code box. Now, we haven't changed any of it, so none of that's going to change. But if we look at this now and refresh, and have a look at the CSS rules. I'm going to use a selector, select that. We can see here that our WP code box rule is overriding the default bricks rule because it's more specific. Okay, so now we can start changing this. To do that, we'll go back to our WP code box. I don't want to translate by 100% of the width of the element. I just want to do, say, 20 pixels. I'm going to change that to 20 pixels. Copy that and put that in here as well. And I'll do the same with the fade up. You got to edit both the WebKit and the non-WebKit version of these keyframes. Again, I don't think you need these anymore, but the WebKit version, but if you do want to support very old browsers, then you do. So there we go. So we've got 20 pixels instead of 100% on these. Save that. Have a look at our front end now, refresh. Still on 20 seconds, so, but you can see that's a lot less travel distance. Go back to our builder, change that back to 1 second. Hitting, change that back to 1 second. Save that. Refresh, there we go. So here's our animations now. Go out of screen. There we go. Look, that's nice and simple. Just a little bit of animation. Yeah, just a tiny bit there. We turn off what we've just done in CodeBox and have a look at it. Fresh. That's what we had to start with, right? Pretty ugly. All right, turn on our overrides, refresh. Now we've just got a little bit of animation. Okay, so we've tamed it down from being pretty ugly to just slightly there. And even that might be too much for you. You might want to reduce that. I'm going to show you the next tip on here, which is to keep it even simpler. We're going to create a variable on the root context. And we're going to call this, I'll just call it WPE. Call it whatever you like. Transform distance. And we'll make that, say, 50 pixels so we can see that they're different. Right? Okay, now we're going to replace our 20 pixels with a variable that. Copy that. All of these 20 pixels here, we're going to copy with our place with our variable. Oops. One more. Sorry, my mouse is just playing up on me a little bit here. All right, so we've changed all those. Now, if we refresh, have a look at the front end, got a bit more movement. So you've got 50 pixel movement there. Okay, let's change it now. All we have to do is make that 200. All right, we want a whole bunch more. I don't like that, but let's get a whole bunch more. I have to refresh here. So now we got a little bit more animation. Getting closer to what we had before. Not quite as much. Closer. Let's say we want it to be really subtle, so we'll make that 10 pixels, right? Just a 10 pixel animation. Refresh. Look how subtle that is. That's kind of more like what I like. Just that really subtle, slight little bit of movement, not much. Okay, so we've just overridden 2 of the default bricks animations, and it didn't take very much to do it all. Now, because we've used SAS or CSS in WP CodeBox, the other thing we can do is change the way that we do this by making it specific, not on every single rule. We can change this by kind of cut that out of there, cut that out. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this right at the top, brackets. We're going to copy all of this code out of here. And we're going to paste that in there, just indent it. Okay, so what we're doing with SAS is we're saying bricks body, and then we're putting this all inside that. So we just have to use the same. In fact, I just messed that up. No, that's the, how did I mess that up? Okay, it's going to save that, make sure that still works. There we go, still works. Right, so if we wanted to change that to a different animation, let's say we pick the image and we want to change the animation from that to fade. Those are all outs. Hey, flipping X, what does flipping X do? Is that 20 seconds again? We can see what it's doing. There we go. What do we got there? Flipping X. There's the animation there. Flipping X. Go back to our network tab, go to animate, find, with Control F, whoops, clicking in this box here, preview, sorry, Control F, find that animation, which is the flipping X. All right, so I'm going to click at the bottom of that roll, scroll up to the WebKit version. Control C to copy that, go to a code box. There's a few lines, paste that in there. Doesn't actually indent properly. Let's just go back to it. Indenting this properly. Oh, what happened there? Oh, just trying to tidy this thing up. I wish there was a function here. Maybe there is, but I just haven't found it. Okay, I've really messed this up. I'm going to delete all that. And just paste it back in again. And then select from the top here, the WebKit keyframes, down to the flipping X tab. All right, we're going to grab our WPE prefix here. And we're going to put that on this one. We're going to put it on this one. So we're going to change all of these, have our prefix. I'm going to put that on there. Okay. That's it there, a bit important. Okay, there we go. Now we've actually overridden that class. Save that. Go back to our test builder, change that back to, say, 1 second. Okay, and there is our flipping X. There, actually, I'm going to change that back so we can just be sure. So I'm going to change that back to 20 seconds. And have a look. See, our flipping X here is being overridden by our rule. So now we can go in there and we can change that to whatever we want. Put that back to 1 second, maybe. 2 seconds for that one, because it's quite a long one. I'll come back here. And what we're going to do now is whatever we do on these keyframes here, we copy and paste that to the keyframes on the other one. I'm looking at the wrong one. These perspectives here. Let's say we want to remove a bunch of the stuff in the middle. Okay. Let's say we don't like the 40 and 60%. Let's remove those. Okay, do the same on here. Okay, we're just setting it 0 to 80 and then back. Save that. Okay, so now we have a different effect just by changing it and overriding it. So we can, that's still way too much. I'd never use that effect, but that's too much. Way too much. I might even change these perspectives, make those perspectives say 1000, just to see how this works. 1000, 1000, 1000. I think the 3D on that is just way over the top. So yeah, still too long, still too much, but I think that's probably better. Maybe you don't want to do too much of a flip. Make instead of 90 degrees, make it say 20. 20 degrees there. 20 degrees there. There you go. It's too much. Make it 1 second. There you go. So again, it's just tamed it down to something that's not just flying in at you and making it look like a school project. I like the idea. I think it's really easy to override those and still get the benefit of using the Bricks UI to apply your effects. You can override any of these to do anything you want, and then it doesn't even have to be the same effect. Like if you come in here and you go, look, I'm never going to use this, slide in, slide out right, you might actually repurpose that to be a completely different effect if you wanted to. So takeaways are, when you apply your effect, make sure that when you enter viewport, set your animation duration to 20 seconds so that you can actually see what it is. Use your Chrome Dev Tools to find what that animation is. So when it's animating, the animation name will be on the class. Find that animation, go to your network tab, go to your animate CSS. Oops, double clicked. Go to animate CSS. Have a look at the preview tab so it's formatted. Do a Control F or Command F. Find that class name, copy that rule, put it in a WP code box, prefix it with something that's going to make it more specific. In this case, I've used Bricks Body, and then prefix your keyframes and your animation name here with something, so that just makes it different to what Bricks have defined. And then away you go, create your own effects. I think it's cool. I don't know what you think. Let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. Tell me why. Don't just give me a thumbs down. Give me some details as to why you don't like it. I always love feedback. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys.